Hello listeners and viewers. Welcome to Kaduna State Ministry of Education Radio and TV e-learning program designed for our SS3 and other students staying at home due to the coronavirus pandemic. The present administration, under the able leadership of His Excellency, Malam Nasir Ahmed El-Rufai, is positioned as always to ensure that under his leadership, our students are not left behind in all areas of human endeavors, especially education. Kaduna State is the center of learning. Therefore, we want to ensure that our students excel in their forthcoming examinations and beyond. Students and other learners at home are given this opportunity in order to continue learning, as education is a continuous process. Different subjects will be taught in this program to assist students to perform excellently in the forthcoming Senior School Certificate examination being conducted by NECO and WAEC as soon as schools reopen. Teachers making presentations will always provide their names and phone numbers during each presentation, and they can be contacted for questions, further explanations, and/or clarifications. The following numbers and contacts can also be reached for expression of any concern or observation: 090-865-00545 or 080-383-62072. Our website is www.education.kdsg.gov.ng. Our email education@kdsg.gov.ng or education.kdsg@gmail.com. Our YouTube channel, Ministry of Education, Kaduna State. Our Twitter handle @Kaduna_MOE. Or our Facebook page, Ministry of Education, Kaduna State. Stay safe, stay at home, and learn well. Thank you, happy listening, and happy viewing.
My esteemed learners, we thank God for another opportunity to learn in mathematics. I am still Yakubu Fidelix. We are continuing with quadratic equations with a subtopic, methods of solving quadratic equations. Today, we are going to consider the C part of it, that is the formula method. Take note, the topic is quadratic equations. The subtopic is methods of solving quadratic equations. We are considering the C part, which is the formula method. Recall, in the first lesson of quadratic equations, we treated the first method, which is factorization. And in the second lesson, we treated the method completing the square. And today, we are considering the formula method as the C part of it. It may interest you, my dear students, to know how we derive the formula that we are going to use in solving quadratic equations. It may interest you, my dear students, to know how we derive the formula that we are going to use in solving problems involving quadratic equation. As follows. Recall the three procedures I told you when you are solving quadratic equations using the method of completing the square. One of them I said, make sure the coefficient of x squared is 1. Then number 2 was, transfer the constant to the right-hand side. Then number 3, find half the coefficient of x, square it, and add on both sides to make an equation a perfect square. The three procedures used, these are the three procedures we are also going to use in deriving the general quadratic formula that we are going to use in solving quadratic equations. From the general quadratic equation form, which is ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0. General quadratic equation form, ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0. Procedure number 1, make sure the coefficient of x squared is 1. You can now see that the coefficient of x squared here is a. The coefficient of x squared a is a. How do we eliminate a? we can eliminate a by dividing through by a. We can eliminate a by dividing through by a. Let's go. So we can now have that a squared over a plus bx over a plus c over a equals 0 over a. And of course, a squared divided by a, you can see that a in the numerator divided by a in the denominator gives you 1. So 1 times x squared, we are going to have x squared. Then plus bx over a plus c over a equals to 0. Second procedure, transfer the constant to the right hand side. What is the constant here? The constant in the equation is c over a. So when positive c over a on the left is transferred or crosses an equal sign to the right, becomes negative. So that is why we can have x squared plus bx over a equals minus c over a. X squared plus bx over a gives you minus c over a. The third procedure, have the coefficient of x. What is the coefficient of x in the equation? Is plus b over a. Plus b over a. So 1 over 2, which is half, of plus b over a will give you plus b over 2a. Will give you plus b over 2a. Third condition, square it. Then add it on both sides to make an equation, a what? A perfect square. So when you add plus b over 2a on both sides, let's go. That will give you x squared plus bx over a plus b over 2a squared. X squared plus bx over a plus b over 2a squared equals, also add the same b over 2a squared on the right hand side. You are going to have minus c over a plus b over 2a all raised to the power of 2. The right hand side, minus c over a plus b over 2a all raised to the power of 2. Now the next step is we are going to factorize the left hand side. And in factorization, you should always consider the sign, the centered sign. The coefficient of x squared there is positive. That is why you can see the first positive. The coefficient of the middle term is also positive. You can also see the positive there. And the coefficient of the constant is the what? Is positive. You can also see the positive there. Now, by factorization, x has the square, so I brought down my x. My b over 2a also has the square. I also brought down my b over 2a. Take note, x has a square. I brought down x. Then b over 2a also has square. I brought down b over 2a. And look at, conspicuously, I cycled the centered sign. Conspicuously, I cycled the centered sign, which is positive. So by factorization on the left, you could have x plus b over 2a in bracket, all raised to the power of 2. X plus b over 2 in bracket, all raised to the power of 2. When you expand x plus b over 2a to the power of 2, certainly you are going to get an expression on the left, which is x squared plus bx over a plus b over 2a all raised to the power of 2. Then the right hand side will give you minus c over a. When you expand b over 2a, that is b over 2a multiplied by itself, which is b over 2a times b over 2a, we are going to have b squared all over 4a squared. You have b squared all over 4a squared. So the right hand side becomes minus c over a plus b squared all over 4a squared. We are going to take the LCM of the right hand side. The LCM of the two denominators on the right hand side, that is a and 4a squared, will give you 4a squared. The LCM becomes 4a squared. So let's take the first fraction, which is minus c over a. A into 4a squared, you are going to have 4a. A into 4a squared, you are going to have 4a. So 4a multiplied by minus c will give you minus 4ac. Will give you minus 4ac. Then the second denominator, which is 4a squared. 4a squared divided by 4a squared will give you 1. 4a squared divided by 4a squared will give you 1. And 1 multiplied by the numerator, which is b squared, will give you b squared. Will give you b squared. So the numerator becomes minus 4ac plus b squared over the denominator 4a squared. This can also be written as b squared minus 4ac when you follow the rules of BODMAS. It becomes b squared minus 4ac if you follow the rules of BODMAS, because addition comes before subtraction. So that gives you b squared minus 4ac all over 4a squared. Now, consider the left-hand side, which is x plus b over 2a in bracket to the power of 2 equals to the right-hand side, b squared minus 4ac all over 4a squared. Okay, we are going to eliminate the square on the left-hand side. To eliminate the square on the left-hand side, we are going to take the square root on both sides. Take the square root on both sides. Let's go. So that becomes the square root of x plus b over 2a in bracket all raised to the power of 2 equals to the right-hand side plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 4a squared. By indices, the square root of x plus b over 2a all raised to the power of 2 on the left can also be written as the square root of x plus b over 2a to the power of 2 times 1 over 2. Can also be written as x plus b over 2a in bracket to the power of 2 multiplied by 1 over 2 when you follow the laws of indices. And of course, 2 times 1 over 2 will give you 1. 2 times 1 over 2 will give you 1. So the left-hand side becomes x plus b over 2a. The left-hand side becomes x plus b over 2a equals to plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Why is it 2a on the right-hand side? Because the square root of 4a squared is 2a. The square root of 4a squared is 2a. So you can now see that the 2a is no longer under the root. It is outside the root now, because it is exact square root of 4a squared. Now let's collect the like terms. When we collect the like terms, plus b over 2a on the left, when it crosses an equal sign, become minus b over 2a. Plus b over 2a on the left, when it crosses the equal sign, become minus b over 2a, plus minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Now, you can now check the two denominators. 2a is the common denominator. 2a is the common denominator on the right. So the LCM there is the 2a, because 2a is the common denominator. 2a divided by 2a, the answer is 1. And 1 times b will give you what? Well, 1 times minus b will give you minus b. 2a into 2a, the answer is 1. And 1 times minus b, the answer is minus b. So you can see minus b there. Plus or minus. Then the second one, 2a into 2a, the answer is 1. 2a into 2a, the answer is 1. And 1 times the square root of b squared minus 4ac, you are going to get square root of b squared minus 4ac. All over the what? The LCM, which is 2a. Now, the general formula, the formula that we are going to use in solving quadratic equation, take note, gives x equals to minus b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. My dear students, take note of the quadratic formula that we shall be using. The formula is x equals to minus b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. It all depends on the equation that will be given unto you. If the equation involves y, so y becomes an unknown. So the formula turns out to be y equals to minus b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. If the equation turns out to be m, the formula becomes m equals to minus b plus minus square root of b square minus 4ac all over 2a. Take note, where a is equal to coefficient of x squared, b is equal to coefficient of x, and c equals to constant. I repeat this because it's very paramount. A equals to coefficient of x squared, b is equals to coefficient of x, and c is equals to the constant. Example to back up the formula that we have been able to derive. Example, solve the quadratic equation. Solve the quadratic equation. 2x squared minus 5x plus 3 equals to 0 by formula. 2x squared minus 5x plus 3 equals to 0 by formula. Solution. We are going to write down the values of A, B, and C. First and foremost, write down the values of A, B, and C. From the equation, we say A is the coefficient of x squared. Now, the coefficient of x squared from the equation is 2. So that is why our A equals to 2. Then, B is the coefficient of the middle term. And the middle term, the coefficient of the middle term there is minus 5. That is why you can see our B equals to minus 5. And C is the constant. And the constant number in the equation is 3. So the coefficient of C, so C there becomes plus 3. Please, my student, the signs are very, very important. For instance, the coefficient of x is minus 5. So B becomes minus 5. If you mistakenly write 5 without minus attached to it, then you will get an erroneous result. You will get an erroneous result. So the signs are very, very vital. Please note that. Now, apply the formula. We are going to apply the formula by substituting the corresponding values of A, B, and C. Now, our x becomes, recall the formula, minus b plus minus square root of b square minus 4ac all over 2a. Our x now equals to minus b, the coefficient b there equals to minus 5. And already we have minus. So minus is there, minus is there, multiplied by the what? By the value of b, which is minus 5. So you can see minus bracket, minus 5 there. Plus minus the square root of b square. What is the value of b? Minus 5. So that becomes minus 5 square. Minus 4 times the value of a. What is the value of a? 2. So that becomes minus 4 times 2. What is the value of c? Plus 3. So times 3. All over 2a. What is the value of a there? Is 2. So the denominator becomes 2 times 2. Our x now equals, let's simplify that. Minus 1 multiplied by minus 5, that will give you positive 5. Minus 1 multiplied by minus 5, that will give you positive 5. So x now equals to 5 plus minus. Then, let's simplify the terms inside the square root. Minus 5 square means minus 5 times minus 5. And minus 5 times minus 5, that will give you 25. So you can see 25 is written there. 25 is written there. Minus 4 multiplied by minus 2, you are going to have minus 8. And minus 8 multiplied by 3, that will give you minus 24. So your x becomes 5 plus minus square root of 25 minus 24 all over 4. X becomes 5 plus minus square root of 25 minus 24 all over 4. By simplification, your x becomes 5 plus minus 25 minus 24, the answer is 1. 25 minus 24, the answer is 1. So that is why I have the next step, x equals to 5 plus minus square root of 1 all over 4. 5 plus minus square root of 1 all over 4. And the square root of 1 is equals to 1. The square root of 1 is equals to 1. Because 1 times 1 will give you 1. So your x now becomes 5 plus minus 1 all over 4. Now, let's find the exact value of x. If you are using the positive term only, then your x becomes 5 plus 1 over 4. If you are using the positive term only, your x becomes 5 plus 1 over 4. And 5 plus 1 will give you 6 all over 4. To reduce 6 over 4 to its lowest term, it becomes 3 over 2. 2 can go into 4 2 times, and 2 can go into 6 3 times. So that becomes 3 over 2. So x is 3 over 2. Or, if you are using the negative term only, your x becomes 5 minus 1 over 4. If you are using the negative term only, your x becomes 5 minus 1 over 4. 5 minus 1, the answer is 4, all over 4. 5 minus 1, the answer is 4, all over 4. And 4 divided by 4, the answer equals to 1. 4 divided by 4, the answer equals to 1. Conclusively, our x equals to 3 over 2 or 1. 3 over 2 or 1. My dear student, let me repeat the example for better understanding. We are to solve 2x squared minus 5x plus 3 equals to 0. We are to solve 2x squared minus 5x plus 3 equals to 0 by the formula method. Let's go. So look at the solution. 2x squared minus 5x plus 3 equals to 0. We are going to write down the corresponding values of a, b, and c. From the equation we say a is usually the coefficient of x squared. So the coefficient of x squared here is 2. And b is the coefficient of the middle term. And the coefficient of the middle term here, which is x, equals to minus 5. So your b becomes minus 5. And of course your c is the constant. So your c becomes plus 3. Now apply the formula. Recall, the formula is x equals to minus b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. X equals to minus b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Now let's substitute the corresponding values of a, b, and c in the formula. X is equals to b we already have a negative b there, so you can see negative is written, and the value of b is minus 5. So that becomes minus into minus 5 plus minus the square root. Inside the square root we have b squared, and the value of b there is minus 5. So that becomes minus 5 squared. Then minus 4ac. I have minus 4 written. What is the value of a? The value of a is 2. So that becomes minus 4 times 2. And the value of c is what? Is 3. So that becomes times 3. All over the denominator. The denominator is 2a. So the value of a is 2. So your denominator becomes 2 times 2. So let's simplify. By simplification, our x equals to minus 1 multiplied by minus 5. That will give you positive 5. So positive 5 is written. Plus minus the square root. Minus 5 squared simply means minus 5 times minus 5. And that will give you positive 25. You can see positive 25 inside the square root. And minus 4 multiplied by 2, you are going to get minus 8. And minus 8 multiplied by 3, that will give you minus 24. So the numerator becomes 5 plus minus square root of 25 minus 24. All over the denominator, which is 2 times 2. And of course, 2 times 2 gives you 4. So that becomes x equals to 5 plus minus square root of 25 minus 24 all over 4. Now, what is the value of 25 minus 24? The value of 25 minus 24 gives you 1. So that becomes X now becomes 5 plus minus the square root of 1 all over 4. What is the square root of 1, my dear students? The square root of 1 simply means a number that can multiply itself to give you 1, and that number is 1. So the square root of 1 becomes 1. So your X becomes 5 plus minus 1 all over 4. 5 plus minus 1 all over 4. Your X can be simplified in two ways, by considering the positive terms and the negative term. If we consider the positive terms only, your X becomes 5 plus 1 over 4. And 5 plus 1 will give you 6 all over 4. To reduce 6 over 4 to its lowest term, you are going to have 3 over 2. Why? 2 into 4 is 2, and 2 into 6 is 3. So X becomes 3 over 2. If you are considering the negative terms only, that becomes 5 minus 1 over 4. 5 minus 1, the answer is 4. And 4 divided by 4 equals to 1. Conclusively, as I said before, your X is equals to 3 over 2 or 1. Before we run up our lessons, I have an assignment for you. Please, before the assignment, let me encourage you. Mathematics must be practiced. Because it deals with figures, it must be practiced. If you don't practice math, there is no way you can excel. There is no way you can understand mathematics as expected. So make it a point of duty in you, my dear student. Practice mathematics. It will enhance your knowledge of understanding. Here is the assignment. Solve the following equations by formula method. Solve the following equations by formula method. A, p squared minus 10p minus 24 equals to 0. I repeat, p squared minus 10p minus 24 equals to 0. B, 3k squared plus 2k minus 1 equals to 0. I repeat that. 3k squared plus 2k minus 1 equals to 0. Let me still repeat the assignment for those that have access to only the radio so that they can understand what we are doing very well. Please, I'm repeating the assignment for their understanding. I repeat. A, p squared minus 10p minus 24 equals to 0. P squared minus 10p minus 24 equals to 0. B, 3k squared plus 2k minus 1 equals to 0. 3k squared plus 2k minus 1 equals to 0. References of my research: New General Mathematics, SS3 and SS2. There are references. You can use Z.I. Schima, you can use G.U. Gerber, and etc., etc. Then we have question and answers, mathematics, YA. I remain Mr. Yakubu Fidelis with this contact 080-2525-5287. Yakubu Fidelis 080-2525-5287. Stay home, stay safe, keep learning, and practice harder. Thank you.